You are listening to Here Before, Here Now, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me for another episode of Here Before, Here Now. I know that I've been pretty quiet the last several weeks, but it's just because I've been gearing up for the summer months, lining up other interviews and pretty cool topics throughout the next coming weeks. So my guest today is a film director and writer, producer, Shonie De La Rosa. I just watched a movie that he had created called The Arrangement, and a lot of it is in Navajo, Denebazad, and it's a really cool movie. He's going to have some screenings in the Valley towards the end of May, and we're going to talk with him now because he is doing the film festival circuits and things of that nature. So, Shoney, thank you so much. If you want to introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Shonie De La Rosa, German, born for Nota de Tachini. I'm from Kenta, but I'm originally from here, here in Phoenix. I grew up here.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
But I've been in Kenta about the past 40 years now.
Okay, great. K-Town.
Yeah. Yeah, K-Town, good old K-Town. Yeah.
What is it, Toroneshje?
Yeah, Toroneshje.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, great. So, film director, I just watched your movie, The Arrangement, and let me just kind of give a synopsis here. So it centers on Harold, right? Harold is a guy who lives on the Navajo Nation. He lives with his mom, and she encourages him to speak Navajo more. And, you know, he's kind of like questioning, why do you need to speak this when we live in an age where not many people do? And she has a task for him. She wants him to go to her friend's house, which is several days away by horse, and to grab a sewing kit. And while he's there, he meets a woman who he had known as a child, and kind of a romantic comedy situation, correct?
In a nutshell, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, in a nutshell.
Okay, so that's just a synopsis. I won't give anything away,
Okay.
unless you want to talk about it. But what gave you this idea to create this movie called The Arrangement, and what does The Arrangement allude to?
Well, this all started with a film grant that was put out by the Navajo Nation Film Office. They were offering grants up to $6,500 for 10 Navajo filmmakers to make 10 short films that had to be at least 80% Navajo.
Mm-hmm.
So I applied and I got picked.
Okay.
And 9 other people got picked as well. And the film I was originally going to do was an animation piece about the late code talker Samuel Holiday. But unfortunately, my animator didn't work out. So I had to come up with a new idea really, really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't want to drop out of that program. I really wanted to do something. So they gave me a week to come up with a new idea. And when I first moved to the res, I was 18 years old then. This is back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So I left from Phoenix, went up there, and my grandma used to tease me about marrying me off.
Okay.
Because I was single then. And she was tell me about arranged marriages, things like that. And laugh about it, but she told me, a lot of things about it, how it was in the old days and all that. And then come later on, like in my present life, I got 2 friends that are in arranged marriages.
Oh wow!
And they've had really long-lasting marriages, such as myself and my wife. We're almost 40 years, my wife and I.
Okay.
Mine wasn't arranged. I had a traditional wedding, but it wasn't arranged. But 2 of my friends, they're arranged marriage, and believe me, I drill them. I mean, anybody would. I mean, it's like, how is it? Is it strange? Yeah. Did you know them? And
are they Navajo too?
Yeah, they're Navajo too.
Wow. And they were in an arranged
and they're arranged marriage,
okay.
and they're my age.
Wow.
My wife's age.
Okay. So that's what
very,
happens.
Yeah, really long-lasting marriages. So that day when I called about my dilemma and to come up with a new idea, I just got done talking to one of my friends about his arranged marriage, and it just kind of popped in the head, and I was like, that's something really different. I don't think anybody's ever done anything like that, And so I just started doing an outline real quick, and I resubmitted a proposal, and they gave me the green light, and they said, go for it,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So that's how it really came about, is just because I was in a bind, and I had to think of something really, really quick, and it just popped into my head.
Well, it does bring up a lot of interesting things about the Navajo culture. Yeah. I mean, when I was watching the movie, obviously a lot of it is in Navajo. And the idea of arranged marriage, you have a scene of a Navajo wedding. I'm also married, and I also got to do a Navajo wedding with my wife. She's white, but it was cool to see that on camera, to kind of bring that to the masses. Who were you writing this film for? Was it yourself or for like the broader audience?
Well, a lot of my previous work, we talked a little briefly about it on our way up here. You know, a lot of mine is about the hardships of living on the res, you know, and the things that we struggle with. And this is something like complete 180 of everything that I've done.
Yeah.
It's just, it's told from a male perspective. So, it's not told from a female perspective, obviously, you know? So, I had a Navajo marriage too, so I kind of wanted to kind of try to recreate a little bit of my wife and I's Navajo wedding,
Sure,
because it was chaos. You probably know when
yeah,
Navajo weddings are usually pretty chaotic sometimes,
yeah.
you know. So
And then when you add like my white family members from my wife's side coming in, you know, like it was different, a culture shock for a lot of them.
Yeah. So, you know, and then I just wanted to really highlight the beauty of the area where I am from. Yeah, we got Monument Valley just right up the road,
right?
You know, and that's where I met Scott Passmore and
you met
all those
okay.
other.
Yeah,
They interviewed me for my other film, Milepost 398,
cool.
up there.
Oh, cool.
Know? So, you know, I could have used, you know, Monument Valley, but I think a lot of people use it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so I used other areas around where I live, like many farms, Chimito, Rough Rock. You got Church Rock, I don't know if you know it there, in El Capitan, Shanto Canyon, Navajo Mountain is primarily, that's where we shot most of the film there, you know. So I really wanted to highlight the beauty of the other areas, you know, because there's so many beautiful areas back home, you know, and it goes a lot further than just Monument Valley.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I've been up there many times, and sadly the last time I went was for our COVID stories that when I was reporting on for the station out in Albuquerque. But yeah, just seeing how incredible the land is up there and how expansive it is. I mean, it does play a part in your storytelling. I mean, this guy has to travel through the Navajo Nation several days to get to the homestead that he's supposed to go and visit. Where did you come up with this character Harold and the woman that he meets? You know, when he's trying to retrieve that sewing kit.
Well, the characters just kind of, you know, I didn't want them to be portrayed, you know, negative in any light.
Sure.
None at all. You know, I think that enough of that's already done, you know. So I wanted something really positive to show, you know, our culture and our people in a more positive light and things that I used to do. You know, I still do, but, you know, just something different. When I was writing the script, I picked these two specifically because I don't do casting calls.
Okay.
No, I don't. Okay. I usually cast
people. You wrote for these people in mind, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I write the parts for them, but they didn't know that. You know?
You're going to be in this movie.
Yeah. But Harold, Steve-O's Boshi Jim, we call him Boshi, that's his nickname. But he turned me down 3 times.
Okay.
Because he's an iron worker supervisor down here at the time. He's extremely busy. Just didn't have time for it. And he also does this other podcast on Instagram, and so I used to do his promos for him. And we did a promo in Gallup, downtown Gallup, at Sammy C's Sports Bar and Grill, and his mother came with him. So we did his promo, and then we were all sitting down eating. I knew we were going to eat, and so I asked him again in front of his mom. And his mom's like, "What movie?" You know, and I said, Shoney's doing this. You're going to do it. I said, all right, I'll do it. So I got him. Yes. And then Jocelyn Billy, she's a former Miss Navajo. My wife and I know her from when we released our film Milepost 398.
Okay.
And so wherever we went to go show Milepost 398, we always ran into her because she was Miss Navajo at the time.
Yeah.
And so we saw her a lot and we got to know her really well. And she just popped into my head as the character, just perfect because of, you know, I cast people based on their characteristics. I study people when I meet them, you know, and how their body language, how they interact with people, how they speak to people, you know, everything, and that's how I cast them. And I just kind of had a feeling these two were going to click. I just knew it based on who they were personally, you know. And Jocelyn jumped at it. She just jumped at it.
Well, seeing them both, like there is chemistry that you know, it's immediate initially, but then it also does grow throughout the course of the movie. And was it hard to cultivate that?
It really wasn't.
Okay.
It really, we didn't have no issues like that at all, because I'm a really unconventional filmmaker. You know, I'm not a traditional filmmaker that most people would think. You know, and with the lead actors, I pretty much let them pick who they wanted to work with, because we have Zolzani too in there.
Yeah.
He's pretty popular actor as well.
Yeah.
And Boshi, he wanted to work with him, and
Oh,
I've
okay.
always wanted to work with Zol for many
Yeah.
years. We've wanted to work with each other, and so we got a hold of him. He jumped at it, you know, and the chemistry between those two. He opens and ends the movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I interviewed Zol during the COVID pandemic time when he was doing the water pickups and
I
the
remember
log
that
and all
too.
that. So
Yeah, I was a frontline worker at the time. I worked for the Kanta Township, so I remember seeing him all over and did a lot of work.
seeing him pop up here and there.
Yeah.
And, I'm like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, yeah, and then we kind of hooked up, and we've always wanted to work together. And it just happened. And then, you know, same thing with like the supporting parts of the mothers. You know, they pretty much picked who they wanted to work with.
Right.
And in a way, it kind of works out that way, because that way they're comfortable.
Yeah.
With who they want to work with. They know who they are.
Yeah.
You know, and when they're doing their dialogue, their lines, it just flows.
It was real. Like when I was
Yeah.
watching, you know, the moms talking and everything, it just was, it threw back to like, you know, watching, you know, my aunts or, you know, my grandmother. So that was really cool to see that authenticity on camera there. So when it comes to your process, you came up with this idea within a week. How long did it take you to write it? And $6,500, I'm sure went pretty fast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I went by it in a blink of an eye.
Right.
Well, when I got the green light, I had to write the script. And so, I mean, I had the outline. I had a basic idea how the story was going to go, you know, and so I had to write it. And even then, I didn't know who I was going to cast. So I think once I got into, I don't know, scene 10, you know, around there, and that's when I started thinking about the characters, who I'm going to cast, especially the main ones. The main ones are the ones I was really concerned with. And music plays a huge role in how I write.
Okay.
And so I listen to music when I write, and it inspires me. The music inspires me, you know, like where the setting is and how, what the situation is and how they interact with each other. You know? And so a lot of the music I was listening to is also included in the soundtrack that I use, and they're mostly all Navajo musicians. And so that really inspired my writing for this film. And so, but yeah, there's like Sunburnt Stone, Levi Platero, Irv Wanika, you know, Coalition. I use Coalition on my other feature film, Milepost 398, you know.
Yeah.
And I did use some, you know, some paid, you know, licensed music in there for a couple of these other scenes.
Sure.
Most of it's, I try to use as much Navajo as I possibly can in my movies and everything that I do, because I strongly believe in supporting my native people and artists, people like me, you know, the best I can, you know, and I try to be as most authentic as I possibly can be, because I feel like as a filmmaker, I represent my people and my culture, everything about us. You know, that's I take that very, very seriously. I'm not one to compromise.
Right.
Also, and so I think that's a big reason why I'm so independent, is because I don't like anybody telling me what I can and can't do, or how they think.
Right. Total control. Is what you want.
Or how they think a Navajo should be. You know.
How long did it take you to film this?
We started filming it July 1st.
Okay.
We did our last shot on November 11th.
Wow, it took several months then.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but altogether from writing it took about 8.5 to 9 months.
Wow.
From beginning. That's quick.
Yeah.
And it was originally supposed to start out as a short film, and we got in a couple weeks, and you know, because I had to write the script quick, and when we were actually shooting it, things started to really change up a lot. You know, it's like, well, we need to add this scene to make this sound more, to make sense, and to make this sense, we got to add this scene, and it just kind of grew. And I realized, I said, we don't have a short film anymore, you know. And so I told the cast and crew, I said, I think we got a feature film on our hands. They're like, yes, let's do it. I said, okay, we're all on board. And they're like, yes.
That means you're going to work a lot longer.
Yeah,
and
so
more.
we had a deadline to meet too.
Okay.
You know, because all the other filmmakers were working on theirs, but they were doing short films, you know, and so we had a deadline, and we didn't make that deadline. We missed it by at least, I think it was, about almost 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but we did, I did go, and a couple of the actors and crew members did go to the Navajo Film Festival they had at the Navajo Nation Museum, where they showed all the films everybody made.
Yeah.
And they had to be at least 80% Navajo. And that was the it was a revitalization.
Yeah, revitalization project.
Yeah, for our language.
Yeah.
And there are some amazing films.
Really?
I mean, they're
I wish I could have seen them. Yeah.
Great films. But they let me show one of my other previous short films that I did called Hostine Retired, which I shot with Chris Kent's another filmmaker, and it had James in there, James and Ernie, and also the lead actor, the late Gerald Vandever. Okay. So he was in there. We shot that in New Mexico and Alamogordo, White Sands.
Sure.
All that.
That's amazing.
That went over really, really well. So I'm glad they got to show that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of us were there, to show support for our fellow filmmakers and actors that were in other films. So,
what was the biggest expense for your film, this latest one?
The biggest expense I would say would be food and lodging.
Okay.
Yeah, food. No. Well, not just food and lodging, but lodging not so much. Gas, fuel. Because we traveled a lot. I'm based in Kayenta, and we had Navajo Mountains like almost 2 hours away when you're pulling a trailer and an RV and all this stuff. And we're going there multiple times. And then the other location that we're shooting at was either in Rough Rock or Mini Farm. So they're about equally a distance apart, and that costs a lot of money, especially when you're pulling, an RV and trailers with diesels. Diesel isn't cheap.
Wow. That's pretty crazy how you're able to, just like come up with an idea almost out of nowhere. And then, several months later, obviously you have the finished product that's being viewed at theaters all over Navajo Nation, here in the Valley, and also getting picked up at some film festivals. What's it like to see your work get out there like this?
I've been kind of out of the film festival circuit for quite some time. Okay. I've been doing this for well over 20 years. And most of the stuff that I've been doing lately has just been, client work, things like that. And to come back with something like this and get back into the film festival circuit, people are like, oh, I thought you were gone, And I said, no, I'm still here, and it's it feels good to be in this film festival circuit, because I've entered well over 100 film festivals around the world, and we still got the rest of 2025 to go yet.
Sure.
We've got 10 official selections and 4 wins to date.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
So we just recently won Gallup Film Festival. Oh. We won 2 awards there.
Cool.
So we won Best Language Preservation Film and People's Choice. And this was at the El Morro Theater. And
awesome.
It was packed.
Oh,
I don't know if you've ever been to that theater, but it's
pretty actually
good.
I haven't. No.
It's a pretty good sized theater, and it was packed. A lot of people came in. And but yeah, we were honored to get that. And I would say a little bit after that, we got another win from Southern Connecticut University to do the Latino and Native American Film Festival. They had over 2,600 submissions.
Wow.
We were selected to participate in it. So I was just honored that our film got picked out of that many from all over the world, indigenous people all over the world. And so they did that film festival, and I was in Albuquerque doing screenings for 3 days at the Guild Cinema.
I love that cinema. That's so cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Keith out there, and his team, they're great. But late at night, I heard my phone chime, and I couldn't sleep. So I got up and I read the email, and it said that we won Best Feature Film out of all those movies.
Is so cool.
And I was like, holy cow. I'm jumping around in my motel room in my underwear,
That's
just
gotta
happy,
be amazing.
just holding my fist. And it felt really, really good. And then the first award that we won is Santa Fe Film Festival, and that was Best Native Cinema. And
cool.
I wasn't expecting it at all.
That's cool.
I wasn't expecting it all, so it was a really nice surprise.
Sure.
Because I think it was like one of the first film festivals that I attended for the film.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of arrived late, and I was looking for my badge. And they were like, "Here's your award," And I was like, "What award? You won," And it was like, "Your film won," And I was like, "Oh, heck yeah, that's awesome."
Yeah, one of the phrases in the movie that gets said a lot is speak Navajo.
Yeah.
And a huge part of this grants and this whole film festival that the Navajo Nation wanted to do was to preserve the language.
Yeah.
And, like watching your film, I live here in Phoenix, obviously. And I live with my wife, who's white. My mom is here. She speaks Navajo to me a lot, but being immersed in that sort of environment, it's been years for me, like all the time. Like when I was younger, we'd go back to the res for family almost every weekend, it seemed like. Not so much anymore, obviously. Here I'm down here, I've got my family here, I work here, and it's hard to maintain those like ties up there. You go back for like the big events and things like that. But watching your film, it brought me back to those times. Where do you think the language preservation is going right now? I mean, obviously there's a lot more tools out there, a lot of YouTube videos about speaking Navajo, or podcasts, more films like this. Are we in a good place?
I personally feel we're in a very good place, and I've seen the purpose of this was to revitalize our language. And I've seen it over the years through, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that. You see a lot of our language and our culture and things that who we are as Navajo, makes us who we are, available, and there's a lot of resources out there for that online, and this is just a small part of it, and I'm not a Navajo speaker myself. Believe me, I know Navajo I understand it much better when it's spoken to me, but as far as delivering it, speaking it, I'm like Harold in the movie, I'll butcher it, but I know how Navajo's delivered. So when making the movie, it's like, I know if it's right or wrong, but it's all the other the short films that were made with this grant program, they were amazing. I highly recommend, if you get a chance, go see them. There's like Ryan Begay, Cody Artis, and there's numerous other ones that did, and they did some really great films. And I really wish the Navajo, the film office would kind of take those on tour. It would
literally
be nice,
they should. That would be amazing,
and show it to people, because they need to be out there. But I think they kind of just gave it to us and say, have at it, do what you want with it, get it out there, and there's another one, George Joe. I don't know if you know George Joe.
Oh, yeah.
He got selected.
Yeah, I
so
interviewed him
he did a
last
short
year.
film for that grant, too, and I filmed that for him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so I was doing two movies
Yeah,
at
we
the
had
same
him on
time.
live for this festival.
Yeah.
I think when he was putting a call out for the grants.
Yeah.
So, we did that then.
So,
but
but
so
his film is awesome, too,
I'll have to check it out.
There's so much talent among our people, and filmmaking's so easy now.
It seems like it. I mean, sometimes you can just use a phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I've seen those filters or like those lenses that you can just put on to make it look wide angle, fisheye, or even apps to do all these things.
Yeah.
You've inspired me to make a film. I think I'm going to go make one now.
There you go. Go for it. I'll be right behind you, rooting you on.
That's great. Shoney, thank you so much for being here. Obviously, we could go on and on and talk about this. Any imparting advice for, young Native filmmakers out there who want to continue to tell stories like this?
I would encourage anybody, literally anybody who wants to become a filmmaker, just go do it. Start small. You don't need the biggest, greatest, latest camera and the greatest lights, the greatest microphones. I didn't start out that way. You have to work your way up that way, and utilize what you got. Don't expect something top-notch Hollywood right out of the box, your first time around, you got to learn.
Sometimes though with TikTok now, you see kids do things like, oh my gosh, that could be like a movie.
It's amazing, the things that you see out there online today, because we're a media-based world now.
Absolutely.
So everything's media-based.
Content.
Yeah, and so a lot of us are already filmmakers, natural and storytellers, and I would encourage anybody to just keep going with it. Keep going with it and don't stop. I mean, if you truly, truly love something, no matter what it is, just do it.
Right.
And don't let anything hold you back. I don't. You know, I'd run into obstacles, but I figure out a way around it and I just keep going and just do the best I can. That's all I do.
Awesome. Well, Shoney, thank you so much for being here. His movie, The Arrangements, you can catch it here in the Valley at Harkins Theaters sometime in the end of May. This will have aired, I think, probably a couple of days beforehand, but we'll make sure that we get some links in the bio of this podcast so you can find out where to watch it, or also to get a hold of Shoney and contact him for future things. All right, that's going to be it for this episode of Here Before, Here Now. Thanks so much. Stick around. We'll have more episodes coming up down the line.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, what's up?
All right. I would like to throw a big kudos out to the Phoenix Indian Center for setting up these screenings.
Yeah.
They and their team worked extremely hard getting these screenings set up for the Native people down here in the Valley. And it's free screenings.
Yeah.
So we're showing at Harkins Christown on Friday on the 30th, and then Harkins Santana on the 31st. And plus you get a free voucher for popcorn and a drink.
All right. Sounds like my kind of
I
thing.
want a big shout out to the Phoenix Indian Center for that. And I'm very, very thankful for them. So
Yeah. Good people over there. All right, Shoney, thanks so much.
You bet.
All right, till next time, guys.
You are listening to Here Before, Here Now, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.